And I'm back. The newest thing with all this home theater stuff is 4K ultra high definition, HDR, 10, Dolby Vision, all that kind of stuff. So one of the things you're supposed to look for when you're buying a 4K ultra high definition HDR TV, HDMI 2.0A and HDCP 2.2. If you don't know what these mean, I made a long ass video about all the things you're gonna need to know when you buy a 4K ultra high definition TV. So I'll put a link in the description for that and you can check that out on your own time. But for now, we're talking about high speed HDMI cables. And these are digital cables. So it's either on or it's off. It either works or it doesn't work. Pretty straightforward. And I actually tried it. I tried to use a PS4 Pro and connected it to my 4K ultra high definition TV with an old HDMI cable. And it actually didn't work. So I then plugged in the HDMI cable that came with the PS4 Pro and it worked. Fantastic. Now, I actually don't use those cables. I found a very inexpensive cable by a brand called SecurOMax, and it's really nice. It's a thick cable, it's braided, and the most important part is that it does full 4K support with HDR. It meets HDCP 2.2, and I've tried it on everything, Xbox One S, PS4 Pro, and the oppo UDP 203. All those sources transfer all the data, and I can see everything in the glorious 4K HDR that it's intended to be. What I went ahead and did was I replaced all my HDMI cables with these new cables. I'm going to take some shots upstairs, the back of the receiver, so you guys can check that out. Because what I noticed was all these different manufacturers gave you different cables. They're all the same high-speed HDMI cable, but they all look different. They got different shapes, different thicknesses, all that kind of stuff. So what I did was I bought 6 of the SecurOMax high-speed HDMI cables. I got 3 of them at 3 feet, and I got 3 of them at 6 feet. Now, since all the HDMI cables match, they look really cool because they're at the very, very top of the receiver. So everything's got that like standardized look and it looks great and it all matches. So it's not really important. Now I use these cables and I store away the other cables that actually came with the devices in case at any point I need another one. I remember I was trying to find a 4K capture card that would work with one of the consoles so I don't have to videotape the screen. I can just do a 4K video capture and it would look great. So that's initially why I got the cables, because I needed to go from the Xbox One S to the video capture card and then from the video capture card to the TV so I could watch what I was doing. The video capture card didn't work, but the cables did. So I ended up just buying like 6 of them, and that might have cost me, I don't know, maybe like $40 for all 6 of them. So not a big deal. I'll put a link in the description for sure so you guys can check it out. But I want to show you real quick just how different all these HDMI cables look. So here you can see all these HDMI cables are different. This one's from the oppo, this one's from the Xbox One S, this one I think is PS4 Pro, and this one is from one of those video capture cards. Doesn't that look awesome? They all kind of like match a little bit. I even have a really awesome optical cable. I'll put a link in the description to that as well. That's the one that has black and a little bit of gold or whatever. That one looks pretty cool too. I'm gonna have to get another one of those once I move my Mac Mini from the studio down here up to the living room. Now, as far as digital cables are concerned, you don't need to buy super expensive ones. You can definitely go to monoprice.com and grab whatever they got there on the cheap for sure. Those will work as well. I just happen to have this weird like thing about braided cables. I even got some really awesome guitar cables that are braided. I think Fender makes them. They're really cool. I don't know, I just like it. So I got those braided cables. So when you're talking about digital cables, it really doesn't matter what you get, because if it's on and you get a picture and you get a signal and it works, then it worked. But now let's shift gears to analog cables, right? We're talking about speaker cables, we're talking about RCA interconnects. You will definitely have an increase in quality when you spend more money on those. I wasn't about to spend like $150 on a speaker cable. Seems kind of cool, I would want to try it at some point, but right now, not so much. I found out that SVS makes both RCA interconnect and speaker cable. And if you never heard of the company SVS, they make some amazing subwoofers for home theater. You should definitely check them out, links in the description. So I got their RCA interconnect. It's a directional braided cable to go from my den-in receiver to my subwoofer. That's pretty much all you need these days for RCAs, right? The second thing I got from SVS, the speaker cable. Now this has the exact same braid as the RCA interconnect, so that's cool. That kind of matches up. And the speaker wire is the 12 gauge wire that is magnetically shielded, which I thought could be important, especially since we have so many devices with Wi-Fi. The Oppo's got Wi-Fi, the TV's got Wi-Fi, Xbox One S, PS4 Pro, and the router and cable modem. That's 6 things that are sitting on my entertainment center. If that stuff causes interference, I really don't know. I went ahead and bought the stuff anyway, just because I want to have a braided cable. And it's really just up to you. You can use whatever. However, the thicker the speaker cable, the less resistance it will have, and the less your amplifier is going to have to work. These SVS speaker cables are 12 gauge, shielded, and they're braided, and one set has banana plugs on one end and has spade connectors on the other. So I got one that's 8 foot of those, and I got a custom made 3 foot that has banana plugs on both sides. And the turnaround time for the custom made cable was about 3 days. It still took like 3 days to get to me, but that's because I live in a weird, small, out of the way place. So I'll put links in the description down below for those 3 cables. I got the RCA interconnect and the 8 foot banana to spade on Amazon, and I got the custom 3 foot for my center channel from SVS directly. I didn't want to go with another 8 foot cable when going from here to here. Kind of stupid. I did order a 4 foot cable for when my new big floor standing clip speakers arrive, so can't wait for that. So that's my time for today. If you like this video, go ahead and smash that like button.